cards do, unless it's like the buffet style. But you get to choose, do you want chicken or beef or steak or a vegetarian meal? Well, this RSVP card offers different food options based on how much the person spent on the wedding gift. Okay, so let's say, this is crazy. So it says no, Reaver, this is awful.
Go on, this is great.
If you spent under $250 on their wedding gifts, you have a choice between roast chicken and swordfish. Okay, not awful choices, right? But okay, if you spend between $251 to $500, you can have a choice of the original two or sliced steak or poached salmon. So your choices increase the more money you spend.
That's a joke. It's awful.
Now,
Is there a higher caliber?
Oh, yes. And for me, wanting a vegetarian meal, I would have to go, there's another level, $501 to $1,000, filet mignon or lobster tails. Then, I still haven't spent enough to get a vegetarian meal. I would have to spend between $1,001 to $2,500 to get a vegetarian or kosher option, or a 2-pound lobster, plus you get a souvenir champagne goblet. It's ridiculous.
I'd give $10 and give me, here's $10, give me some few White Castle.
Oh my God, it's so crazy.
That's a disgrace.
It so is. Somebody posted it on Reddit, and this couple is just getting shredded online. And
Fights like that.
So.
I had a weird wedding story about somebody Tom knows, I don't know if he knows the whole story, but somebody we know had a wedding. Okay. And somebody we know RSVP'd that he was going to the wedding.
Yes.
And didn't show up, which is awful.
It is awful.
The bride went to that guy and said, "You owe us this amount of money because we ordered you a dinner." I mean, that's the worst thing I've ever heard of.
What?
Yes. I mean, it's bad.
Come on.
Look, it's two wrongs don't make a right. It's awful to RSVP and not show up.
Yes,
But for somebody to go to that person and say, "You owe me $100 because we spent $100 on your meal,"
oh my God,
it's disgusting.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I wish I knew who that person was. I'll have to find out. That's crazy. That's the thing. I would know. I'm a bummer. That's ridiculous.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, well, what's the worst thing though? RSVPing and not showing up, or then going back, as Stoney said, and say you owe us the money for your meal?
No.
Which you're not going to get by money.
I think the second thing's worse, actually.
I do too. But the one thing that is really bad
It is bad. They're both bad, but okay, so you take it, you take your hit and go on.
That's true. I agree.
You don't do that. All right, thank you, Heather. Coming up next, who's next? 97.1. That's it.
Hey everybody, Nick Costos here with a Bet River Sports Betting Minute brought to you by Bet River Sportsbook, your hometown sportsbook. After the Cardinals' 2-0 start straight up and against the spread, they'll take on the winless Lions in Week 3. Arizona was a 3.5-point favorite on the look-ahead line, but that's now up to -6. If I were to bet this game, I'd actually take the points with the Lions. I'm expecting better things from Detroit moving forward, especially with star receiver Kenny Golladay set to return. That's it for this Bet River Sports Betting Minute brought to you by Bet River Sportsbook, your hometown sportsbook. I'm Nick Costos. Keep it locked here for more throughout the day.
Want to win $5,000 just for picking football games? BetRivers.net has a weekly football contest where they're giving away $5,000. That's $5,000 each week. And the entry cost is free. Go to BetRivers.net and sign up for your free account. Once you do, you're ready to enter your picks each week. Don't miss your chance to win. Go to BetRivers.net today. That's BetRivers.net. Must be 21. See official rules for details.
And now, another stroke of genius from Genesis Credit Union. Today, Genius Checking. I'm no math whiz, but even I can calculate the benefits of a Genius high-yield checking account from Genesis Credit Union. With just 10 debit transactions a month and e-statements, I'll earn 4.07% APY. With 28 locations and 30,000 ATMs. Stop by or check us out at genesiscu.org. That's genius. That's Genesis. Federally insured by the NCUA. Annual percentage yield paid on average daily balance up to $7,500.
Gentlemen, facing a divorce can be difficult, but you're not alone. Adam, the American Divorce Association for Men, is here to help. Call Adam today at 248-356-2326 and we can answer your questions or schedule a meeting by phone or video chat. Call Adam today.
Morning.
get in my house, eat.
Through the air conditioning vent. It's dark in there.
Go away.
How about some Honey Nut Cheerios?
Cheerios. Do I look like a child to you?
Honey Nut Cheerios are tasty and can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet. Did you just
No,
I'm pretty sure I heard a
it was my dryer.
You might want to get that thing checked out.
Have a change of heart. Honey Nut Cheerios. Learn more about Honey Nut Cheerios by picking up a box at your local store.
Pros today have to do whatever the job calls for, and the Home Depot is here to help make that easier. With a wide range of delivery options, you can get what you need, from job lot quantities to small supply runs, delivered where and when you need it. Don't want to buy the tool? Rent it. We've got the most innovative products and more ways for pros to find them, in-store and online. Pros are changing, so are we. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Hey y'all, this your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
At CDW, we get that an unsecured laptop can put your company's data at risk, making you a little paranoid.
I'm not paranoid. You're paranoid.
CDW can implement a secure mobility solution using the HP EliteBook with Intel 8th generation processors and SureView privacy to protect your screen from prying eyes.
Did you follow me here?
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/HP security.
What was that?
This hour of instant feedback brought to you by Mike Pepura of National Benefit Plans. For affordable health insurance, log on to nbphealth.com.
If it matters on game day, it's on Game Day Uncensored. Sundays this fall on 97.1 The Ticket.
The Ticket. Lions a little dysfunctional. Mike Valenti believes so. Hear what Mike had to say coming up later in the program, and you also hear the Lions' response to it. As everybody knows by now, over the weekend, Ron Gardenhire, who joined us yesterday, resigned as manager of the Detroit Tigers, who finish out their season this week. So the prevailing question, Jeff Rieger, is who's next? Great album by The Who, by the way, but we need to find out exactly who you think should manage the Detroit Tigers. And I know, Gardy, did his little I Want Lloyd McClendon routine with us yesterday, which is natural. That happens all the time.
Lloyd has been a skipper before.
Yes, he has. Not exactly the most successful, but when you're managing teams that don't have a lot of talent, these things occur.
If you're second base one time, it's arguing that was cool.
Yes, it was. I just think you need to move on from what you already have here. Now, obviously, not knowing the ins and outs, there's nothing against Lloyd McClendon or Ramon Santiago or any of the Tigers staff. I think it's time. You had Gardenhire for 4 years. You have a team that's, looking to rebuild, young guys. There are a lot of qualified candidates out there. The biggest question, I think we talked about this a long time ago, you and I'd have no problem if the Tigers, in fact, they'd be both at the top of my list, go for the guys who are suspended right now, A.J. Hinch or Alex Cora. They both won World Series. Now, A.J. Hinch, was not successful at all as the manager of the Diamondbacks his first go-around. That was a bad team. And then he was obviously successful with the Astros. Alex Cora was the bench coach, and yes, helped orchestrate the trash cans, and there's no doubt about it, cheaters, okay? But he managed the Red Sox, also, alleged did a little bit of cheating there, and they won a World Series, lots of talent. But both are young guys. A.J. Hinch is 46 years old, Cora's 44. And I think if these guys are good, as this team's hopefully, we expect to get better, they can be the manager, either one of them, for a long time. So I really like them.
I agree with you. I got no issue. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that say you can't hire a cheater, but somebody's going to hire them.
Right.
Like, both guys got a year suspension. And taking a step further, I would hire the Astros GM, Jeff Luhnow, who obviously was implicated in the scandal as well, and he got a year suspension too. Like, you pay your penance, you get another job. There are other guys.
Yes,
People talk about Vance Wilson, the former Tiger, Don Kelly, the former Tiger, George Lombard, the former Tiger.
I like George Lombard.
As well.
Right, I like George Lombard maybe because I saw the story on him on ESPN where his mom died when he was like 10 years old, and she was white. He's obviously black, and she was huge in his civil rights. And it was an interesting story. But he's been the Dodgers bench coach or first base coach for a few years. Highly respected. If you want to stay with the former Tiger train, the hitting coach for the New York Yankees since 2016, and he's done in their farm system for a while, is Marcus Thames, Country Strong. Yeah.
Spelled Thames.
Yes, exactly. He's 43 years old. You mentioned Will Venable. 3 years as the base coach. He's done first and third base for the Cubs. He's just 37. These are the type of guys that you mentioned Don Kelly. He's 40. These are the type of guys you gotta look at. Young guys who I think would be good for a young team.
Well, Stoney, look at the players on this team. If your young guys don't work out, you're going to suck for eternity.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I like AJ Hinch is because, and you mentioned it, he has been other places and didn't do all that well. But look what he did in Houston. I know he cheated. You can't get past it. I don't blame him. Dude cheated. Curveball,
Yeah.
right? With that being said, George Springer, Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, Carlos Correa, and those are just the position players that I gotta believe he was pretty damn integral in development. And if Casey Mize and Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson don't develop, Tarek Skubal, then you're not going to be any good anytime soon. So you got to go get a young guy that can focus on developing guys. And nothing against Ron. Ron did a nice job of steadying a ship that was sinking because it wasn't his fault. The team stunk. He knew it was going to stink.
Correct.
But now that he's gone, you got to do that next level. You got to get the next thinker, right? You got to get a guy that understands today's game, a guy that is somewhat analytical, and a guy that most importantly can develop young guys.
Well, look, I'm sure there's other names out there that we'll hear about. The 248-539-9797 is the telephone number, and the number if you'd like to text us on the ticket text. I know Pat Caputo mentioned a familiar name, and I just don't want to go back to Alan Trammell.
No.
I
don't think Alan Trammell wants to go back to that either.
No, I know. You don't look. His rationale was nobody knows these guys because of his minor league stuff better than Alan Trammell. I'm fine. That's great, but no, I don't. He didn't do it. Look, the team wasn't that good, obviously then either. But I don't think you need to go back to that well. It would be one thing if he went somewhere else and was successful, and then you bring him back. But no, let's get some fresh young faces in here.
I think Tram enjoys what he's doing. And I know they made a big deal the other day. Coach took base and he loves doing this, and maybe he does. But I don't think he wants to go back to 162 games, sitting at that desk and getting questioned why this team's losing.
Right.
Like he's already done that crap, and yet they would be better than 03 when he was here. But there is no freaking way. And not to mention, do you really want to live the legacy of Tram again? Like, the guy is a Hall of Famer, one of your best ever to play the game. How about go play through 100 losses, which could be looming next season? Let's be honest. Just because the kids are up doesn't mean they're going to win right away. Ask the White Sox. Took them a while. But there are some tickets out. You want some of these?
Yes, please.
Here we go. Eric Baggage with the younger guys.
You know what?
That's Ryan.
That's interesting because when we had him on earlier in COVID, we asked him about that. How come, in football and basketball, you always hear about the hot shot, college coaches, moving up to the pros. You never hear it in baseball. And it's kind of interesting, I don't know if you make that jump.
What did he say?
He said a lot has to do with a lot of people don't know them. That type of thing. They haven't paid their dues in the minor leagues. Edison.
Well, that's going to change because the minors are shrinking.
Right, exactly.
Right. I mean, we talked about this, Jeff, before with Hinch. It feels extremely dirty, but the more you sit back and you look at it, it seems like a very good fit.
Yes.
Because of I think especially the 2016 season with the Astros is when they made their move. He took over a team in 2015, and then in 16 and the Astros were still terrible.
Right.
And then in 16 they started 7-17. They finished 84-78. So he's got the experience of taking a young team, which at that point they didn't have Verlander.
Right.
You know, and kind of molding them and getting them ready. And then 17's when they won. They got Verlander at that trade deadline. You know what? They could get him, and then after Verlander heals, and he's a free agent after 2021, they can bring Verlander back.
Right, he can be the closer.
I mean,
that's happening, right?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I actually don't 100% dismiss it happening.
Me neither, because it's
definitely happening.
especially if the young pitchers look like they're really good, and he is somebody who could, finish his career as a mentor and still have something left, whether it's as a starter or the John Smoltz closer. Give me a few more. Take a text there, please.
Well, I have a personal text from our good buddy Jeff Lesson.
Okay.
Who texted me and said Jack Morris better to help the young stud pitchers.
No. Maybe a pitching coach, but no. I don't want Jack Morris to be.
I misspoke on Hinch, by the way. When he took over in 15, they made the wild card. They lost to the Royals, who won the World Series that year. But the team before in 2014 was awful. So whatever he did worked with that young team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Hinch is the guy. I do. But here's some more for you. Lame guys, real lame, don't hire cheaters. Makes sense. Rieger would want him, absolutely.
I do too, so I'm with Rieger.
Somebody disparaging Patrick Kudo for his Trammell idea. We're not going to read that one. There's another one. That's lunacy. I want no part of them in the Tigers organization, and I find it weird that you guys do. No way, no hire, no Hinch or no Cora.
Okay, so...
And then one more for you.
I think, just quick, I was going to say that when you brought up package, I think they're in a position right now to take, they could almost take a flyer on him for 1 year. If it didn't work, then you go hire somebody else. If he's in over his head, you find out right away. But if you find that diamond, then it's bingo time.
Right.
I believe, I think it's a good point, Tom. I believe the biggest issue, right? I mean, look at Brad. Brad came in here, Mr. Analytical, Mr. New School, Mr. At times a little smarmy. I like Brad because he ripped on me and laughed at me and joked on me. But overall, Brad could not for the life of him relate to today's players because he still considered himself a freaking player.
Right.
Like he'd work out with the guys. He thought he was still a catcher in the bigs. He didn't realize he was a freaking manager. You need a guy to come in here and to take it by the horns and obviously differentiate that line of being a skipper and being a player.
And also,
I think AJ Hinch would be freaking perfect for that.
And also, Cora and Hinch both have the chops. I mean, yeah, they cheated, right? I'm not dismissing that, but they've won and they've managed before. And I think that's really important. All right.
The other thing too is everybody, to some extent or another, has cheated. Right? In baseball especially, with this sign stealing scandal.
Right.
If it's not garbage cans, it's freaking something else. It's Apple Watches or it's something else. So let's not act. It's like steroids. Let's not act like not everybody did at least a little bit of it.
There's no way that, all of us feel dirty to an extent. Yeah. I know you guys do. I know you too well to know. But, my gosh, if you can't give a second chance for this compared to the second chances you're giving start looking in your life and seeing the players that you root for and the crimes they've committed and all those things, and then maybe reassess what's going on.
Leonard Little, Michael Vick, keep going. All right.
I feel like for Tom. Tom was against this like 2 weeks ago.
Well, you think, this is one of your glorious days here today, because I got something to say to you later.
Yeah, 248-539-9797 is the telephone number. Capital Mortgage Funding, ladies and gentlemen, we know the mortgage industry has changed for years. You've heard all about the great folks, Dan Burke, Eric Glanz, and their amazing staff. Local company, and they're part of the community, and what they do for you is give you great customer service. 1-800. They don't put you in a bad mortgage program. They still work for a living. They still close loans. They're not spokespeople. Their star ratings, they're like constellations. 5 stars. You get 17 stars. Capital Mortgage Funding, been around for a long time. I've refied with them 3 times. You should too. They're just nice people, answer all your questions. Call them today, 1-800-LOW-RATE. Capital Mortgage Funding, the best mortgage banker.
Capital Mortgage Funding is powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS ID number 2289, Equal Housing Lender.
97.1 The Ticket. Traffic.
From the WWJ AM 950 Traffic Center, this report brought to you by Flame Heating and Cooling. No big issues on your drive this morning. Light traffic volumes heading into and through most work zones, although a couple of projects are coming up later this morning. That includes a right lane closure for Groesbeck southbound between 11 and 10 Mile, and double left lane closures for 8 Mile westbound from DeQuinder to 75. I'm Michelle Pena with traffic.
97.1 The Ticket would like to remind you that when you text the ticket, standard text messaging rates apply. If it sounds like there's 1,000 bees in your air conditioning building a nest, don't hesitate. Call the experts at Flame. That's Flame Heating and Cooling. Go online now to flamefurnace.com or call 888-234-2340. That's 888-234-2340.
This is Boomer Esiason with the Radio.com Sports Minute. It's time to lower the boom on Rory McIlroy. The 31-year-old Northern Irishman who has won 4 majors claims he's, quote, conflicted about how Bryson DeChambeau won last week's U.S. Open at Winged Foot with his game-changing bomb and gouge strategy. I don't really know what to say because that's just the complete opposite of what you think a U.S. Open champion does, McIlroy said. Look, he's found a way to do it. Whether that's good or bad for the game, I don't know. But it's just not the way I saw this golf course being played or this tournament being played. Hey, Rory, who cares what you think about how the course was supposed to be played? DeChambeau crushed it, and he showed that length is just as important as accuracy. And by the way, he predicted he'd out-hit the course, and guess what? He did. Good for him. By the way, his short game and his putting weren't too bad either. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Picking up an online order? No problem. It'll just be a moment. You know, we've got more convenient ways to shop besides our same-day store pickup. You can also shop from your car with our free curbside pickup. Or you can even shop completely from home with our free next-day delivery. Just order by 10 p.m. on AutoZone.com. Getting the job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Customers, students, and staff expect a new level of clean. Cintas has the essential products and services to help you carry out cleaning protocols effectively. Cintas performs surface sanitizer and disinfectant spray services to common touch points, installs and refills touchless hand sanitizer dispensers, and provides commercial laundry services to help minimize employee exposure. Give everyone the confidence they need to keep coming back. Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Donald Trump says we're not safe in Biden's America, but we're living in Trump's America now. And 200,000 Americans have died from the virus that he lied about.
The simple truth is, Donald Trump failed to protect America. So now, he's trying to scare America. Mr. Trump, you want to talk about fear? You know people are afraid they're going to get COVID. They're afraid they're going to get sick and die. And that is in no small part because of you.
Joe Biden will protect the American people, putting our safety above all else.
I want a safe America. Safe from COVID. Safe from crime and looting. Safe from racially motivated violence. I promise you this, we will do better. There's not a single thing beyond our capacity when we decide to do it together.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president.
recommended Simmons or Tua based on the pick and the value of the pick.
Correct.
And then Patricia wanted Brown, and that was a need as well.
Yes, as we're seeing
and I would
right
say
now.
there probably wasn't that much division between them two. Look, a coach is entitled to want somebody else too, and maybe I would guess that there wasn't this argument or
Right.
some crazy thing.
Right.
So they went on need instead of
best player
value.
Right.
Well, no, and the value of the pick, which just goes again. That's, you know what? He didn't have the balls to take Tua.
Right.
He could have taken him and held him hostage.
Yeah.
The Dolphins. I'm telling you what. Right now, the Dolphins would have paid if the Lions would have taken him.
We don't know that, but I still would have taken Tua to keep him. Anyway, that's the way.
Either way.
Right.
Tom is dead on. He's so right. If you took Tua, they would have coughed up what you wanted, and you still could have Kuda or Derek Brown. The problem is, you guys say he went on need. They went to save their own gig. That's what he did.
Exactly.
This was his best option in his mind to be better this year, to save his job this year. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you don't fire these two men. They're looking to save their own gigs, and it screws you in the long run.
Our telephone number is 248-539-9797. With the update now.
WXYT FM and WXYT HD1 Detroit. A radio.com sports station. Sports headlines. All day, every day. From the Sold by Mike Z Sports Desk. This is 97.1. The Ticket.
Brought to you by Super Car Wash. The final week of the regular season begins tonight for the Tigers as they battle the Twins in the start of a 2-game series in Minnesota. As play opens today, the Tigers are 5 games behind the Toronto Blue Jays, with just 6 games left to go in the regular season in the battle for the 8th and final playoff spot in the American League. Our coverage begins at 7:15. On a conference call with reporters yesterday, head coach Matt Patricia denied a story from Mike Valeni that he reportedly wanted to take Auburn defensive tackle Derek Brown with the 3rd overall pick in April's NFL draft instead of Jeff Okudah, who was the preferred choice of GM Bob Quinn.
We usually don't talk about any of that stuff. We like to keep that stuff internal, but since that is so blatantly not even close to true, I would like to just make sure that that is not a true statement at all.
Brown was eventually taken with the number 7 overall pick by the Carolina Panthers. Monday Night Football last night saw the Las Vegas Raiders defeat the New Orleans Saints 34-24. After the game, Raiders head coach John Gruden confirmed to reporters that he previously had COVID-19 back in July. That admission came up after Gruden was asked about being fined recently by the NFL for not wearing a face mask on the sideline in Week 1. After an off day yesterday, the NBA playoffs resume tonight as the LA Lakers take on the Denver Nuggets in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Over in the NHL last night, the Tampa Bay Lightning defeated the Dallas Stars 3-2 in Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals, which is now all tied up at a game apiece. From the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Tony Ortiz. For more, stay tuned to 97.1 The Ticket and radio.com.
97.1 The Ticket with Heather and Greg and Gov. Jeff Rager here with myself, Michael Stephen Stone. All right.